Thank you so much for coming here, for being with us and being part of this conversation. This is the first roundtable discussion of Match Festival. We are doing this festival for the second time, and we wanted to dedicate the discussion for Circus in European Cooperation Project. And we invited you because you all have a lot of experience being not just artists, but also project managers and cultural managers, having had a number of successful cooperation projects. So I would like to present Marofka Mátyás from the Leather Art Company, Simor Ági from Simor Ág Dance Circus and the Flock Project, and Petrányi Barna from Pro Progressione. And my first question will be to you, and also I know you have prepared some videos that you would like to show with us regarding your project, to talk a little bit about your work, your current project, and your relations to cooperation projects and Creative Europe projects. And I think, Ági, we will start with you. And I would like to ask Lenny to show the two videos that Ági sent to us.
For the invitation. So what you could see is the Flock Project company. We are a vertical dance company. We are working for 10 years with this kind of work. And our actual project is Eco-Flight, Art Becomes a Social Action, which will have a premiere in the 10th of May in the 2nd district of Budapest, and later we go to on a tour. So we continue in Czechia, in Slovakia, in France, in Spain, and yeah, I think so, and Serbia also. And well, this is a cooperation which is a cooperation between the DAFA Puppet Theatre. You could see on the second video that we have been working, for example, also with children during the art laboratory, and we work with the puppet artist, and the idea is to do recycled dresses and doing trash collection. So we have been focusing on the environmental system, and most of our performances have a social issue or something which we are reflecting on problems on society. So it has another connection, and this work is very multicultural. I mean, we are working with fine artists doing fine art projection, and we are always working, as you have seen, with live music, with musicians. So everything is connected, and then we create a coherent performance, which is more like a theater, between theater and circus and dance. So it's a form where we connect different kind of art.
Thank you very much. Then I would like to ask you, Lenny, to also show the video from Leather Art Company, and during, please, Matyi, talk us through about the projects and the work.
Yeah, because the video doesn't have sound. So Leather Art Company has two sides. One is the theater projects, and the other side is educational projects. What you can see now is the Awakening, is a circus theater show. We are coming from a theater point of view, and we use circus in our shows. So basically we are not circus practitioners in a traditional way, but we are actors, and now I started directing also in the last couple of years. And this show, Awakening, was in Festival d'Avignon last summer. Yes. Anyway, this show will be seen in a Mo Theatre in this month. The educational projects, which is the other side of the company, it's like the National Theatre Workshop Forum. We organize every 2 years. Hopefully it will happen this year also. And yeah, we have different corporations, international corporations. Creative Europe, Erasmus Plus, Visegrad Grant, and yeah, basically that's it. How we use these international corporations is to create and tour the performances. Now we are in the middle of a Creative Europe project, which is called 2084, and I can join in the sustainable aspect. It seems that it's really important now. And this project, 2084, is a cooperation between 3 different countries, France, Poland, and Hungary. And we have a residency in each country. And the next one will be, the last residency will be in Budapest in May. And we also have a premiere in the end of May in the Mo Theatre. And this is about sustainability in a broader way. So we are creating artistic work on the theme of sustainability, and also we are trying to think of how performing arts can be more sustainable. Yes, as you can see, we use circus more in the clowning aspect, but there is another show that you've seen before, which has also the aerial rope. I think that's enough for now. Thank you so much. The video is really long, so if you want to see 7 minutes, then we can sit, but hopefully it will be visible later. Thanks.
Thank you. And also, Barna, please talk a bit about Pro Progressione, and of course not just the circus project in general, but the wider performing arts projects that you have going on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Barna Petrani. I'm the founder of Pro Progressione. Funnily enough, as of now, we don't have a lot of circus projects. That's because of one very, very important aspect. Because at Pro Progressione we focus, basically our mission is to foster the artists to talk about social questions and social issues. However, we did work with Circus, and I'm not sure, Agi, but I think probably you were involved. That's I am sure. But I think also it's a little bit the contribution to Flock with the Mixed Door project, which we did together with Veronika Gajas, who was supposed to be here, by the way, that was focusing on, but that's already had a social team. The social team was, and that's why was it Mixed Door, because we were thinking how culture can move outside. So we used a lot of vertical dance with a professional vertical dance company, and also a lot of in-between places. So it was already a social question, how do we approach these in-between places? Under in-between places, and then I give you an example, which is an in-between place, we used a formal factory, an empty factory in Törökbálint, so it was totally empty. There was basically nothing. I think it was used as a paintball ground, so the whole process had its challenges. I think it was in 2016 or something like this. But ever since, we are mostly focusing on the aspects, how can we bring the creative sector closer to this kind of social issues, and how can we bring cross-sectoral collaboration into it. And under cross-sectoral collaboration, I really mean that we work a lot with environmental organization, new technology organization, organizations linked to economy and social questions. And the last project, I think, why am I sitting here, was called DemArt. It was basically focusing on how we democratize art curatorship. And Anna was there. She was the leader of the project, but the core idea originally came from Queens in New York, where they basically invited the locals to be curators to select artistic products or artistic outcomes or whatever. And what I can tell is that even the the open call, which they created, then the three shortlisted, and then the final one which they selected, were way better than the ones which the professionals do. Like, they were more interesting, more engaged, more local, more relational to the place, to the people around. So that was something which we aim to work a little bit more on. So how can we give back the power to the people to think about what do we finance under culture, and what do we want to see on the stage or not on the stage. And I'm very happy to have two artists here whom are working a lot outside of the stage, because I think this is also an important aspect, that we a little bit move out from the black box. Yeah, so that's about us. I didn't have the video, so I didn't know how long I was.
Thank you very much. I would like to connect a bit to what Barna said and ask you about how you see Circus connected to sustainability and ecological issues and social issues, and how do you see future projects maybe related to this, and how do you work around it in your projects or in your work, basically?
I don't know if Circus is connected to sustainability. I think arts can be connected to sustainability, so not specifically Circus in my point of view. Me personally, as an artist, or no, as a person, I'm interested in sustainability. So why I am doing projects in sustainability projects is because I'm interested in, and I think it's important. So I think we artists, but maybe argue with say also, we choose because we are interested in, and then we have this form, like circus or theater, whatever we do, and then we just connect these two. And I think that's it.
Okay, I agree a lot. What I would like to add that, for example, in our case, we are a company, and it's really like Vlog project is really like, or the other company also, Shimorák Dance Circus. So it's like a family in a way, and it's important that we are involved how to focus on the environmental system. But for example, it's really important that when we go to a tour, then we buy the food together, and then we cook together, and then we will have the meals together, and all this stuff which is connected in our life during the tours. It's a way not only using the recycled materials, but on the small details. Like I think that sustainability is not only reflecting on the environmental system or being sustainable, but also working as a community and reflecting on each other and helping each other in small situations. In this is really important in Circus life and our lives, because we also need to rely on each other, and it's really important. And I think that these things are connected in a way.
I don't know how circus is linked. I know how art is linked, and because from my perspective, or from my point of view, what's the role of art? And I think the role of art is to help social imagination, like to imagine a more sustainable society, where I would like to highlight what you just said concerning how we live together in a circus, how we support each other in a certain way, and how communities, which are now quite fragmented, are created. We really started to limit things doing around sustainability in a technical way. Also because there are several things, but one of them is that I think the impact of our sector is minimal compared to the... we also try to do less and less on knowledge sharing, because I think the knowledge is there. So it's not a question like people know what the whole sustainable things are around. What I think is missing is much more the possibility to imagine a future where I have different values, or I live along different values, like, you know, sharing food, taking care of each other, things like that. And I think this is the way how we can involve the people. That's why I really like any kind of artistic product which is, and there will be one tomorrow, which is interactive in a way, that we do it together and people are involved and they are acting as a community, because I think this is what is missing. And I think this is the way how we can support sustainability. And then there is one more thought I want to add concerning environmental change, that I'm not afraid. I think it's an opportunity, in a sense that we have to change the way how we live anyway. And then, you know, the crisis can be always something. And I think here comes arts, like what's the new way how we imagine how we live together, and the place to think about it, to model it, is in a form of artistic creations or artistic sharing.
Just one more. Maybe you had, as you have seen maybe it was the second video, when you have seen the children with whom we work with, and I think it's really important we just work with them in a small artistic game and art laboratory together, but we ask them what they have seen, what they think about the project, or what they see about the small acts, and the whole project was about the environmental system, but we did not tell them, so they could understand everything from the movements. And I think it was really beautiful that as the next generation, they were really small, they said what they think about their roles, what they should be, how to save the environment, as they reflected on our action. And I think it's really beautiful, and it's also a question how to be sustainable, to help the next generation, and not only teach them, but involve them. I mean that we have been asking them what they think, and we involve their ideas in our work.
I also want to add something. So when I started to think of sustainability in an artistic way, I needed to change my mind of how to think of the whole process, not only the artistic thing that I want to create or do or whatever, but the whole process from the beginning till the end, and more like the future of the project, the future of everything, the props, the costumes, the set, and also the human resources. So that's another issue.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you some questions about what kind of key steps did you identify or realize when planning these projects that became later on successful? For somebody who is new to building partnerships, applying for such projects, in your experience, what were some big moments that led to these projects being funded and supported? Or if you think about building partnerships, what kind of competencies did you need to be able to realize these projects?
Well, on the other side, next to Vlog project, I'm also leading a couple of festivals, like we have a theater festivals for 5 years called Cherry Fest. And here at the moment we have an Interreg project, which is a Slovakian-Hungarian cooperation. And I'm also leading Media Wave Festival at the moment, which is a 35-year-old festival funded by Jenő Hartyándi. And I see that if you are leading new stuff or huge stuff also, what is really important first to have the partnership, but to build on the existing partners. So when you see that there are some people who are interested or there's some artists, I think it's really important that when you are leading a project and you see those people who are coming and who would like to reflect on it to save this relationship. Maybe you will use it later. Maybe you will be just friends, but you just put in your mind who is doing what, and then you can communicate, and it's really important. And the other thing is to have a vision. I mean, when we begin something, we have a very, very important vision. It's something which I would like to say as an artist, or it's something which I would like to say as a festival director. It's not different. It's some big aim to, in a way, to help people in a way, or to say something which is not only interested for me or for our company, but which can be globally interested. And then I think from these steps, it's the next one, how you begin to make a structure and think about all the different indicators and everything. But the first step to have this vision and the partnerships.
I can go next. I think the vision is really the most important. Concerning the partners, I really see that the most important thing is that we find the ones fitting, right? So that they really, for a vision, you need objectives, and for the objectives, you need aims and tasks to be done. And basically, we usually choose the partner based on that. Maybe some of them we don't know. We usually know them by someone at least, obviously. But for us, concerning the partnership, this is important. What then works now very good in our huge environmental project is that we spend a lot of time together without a task or without something to do, but just to understand each other, being together in the forest, in the, like really have this kind of real partnership in that sense. So I think that helps throughout the process. What helps for funding is really that there is a very, very, very clear objective, which is honestly not to create a performance which I tour, which we heard it, but there was something in it. So that was the tool concerning the issue. I assume that was the thing in both of your cases, but I think it has to be highlighted for the audience that the aim was not that I want to create something and then I tour around. The aim was something, and that was somehow a tool in it, right? So that it's for a certain community or a wider society, but there is a clear objective and a clear vision there.
Yes, I can join to the vision thing. And I would like to add that the partners need to believe in that vision also, and somehow connect to that vision. I think that's really important. And also what I've learned is to have the common values that the process is built on. And also what Barna said, that like people who you want to work with, like personally, because you will spend some time together. Yeah.
Thank you. Going back to the vision, because yes, we can all agree on that what's the change that you would like to see in, if you think about circus arts or the wider performing arts, that European cooperation projects can support for that change to be realized, or that you work towards as an organization or as a project manager or cultural manager?
Then I start. My vision is in the change that what's the theme. So why something is put, it's put it on the stage or put it somewhere, and I think this is something which should and will change in a certain way. I also think a little bit like the institutions need to change and the black box need to change. I always have this kind of, well, it's rude, I know, but I have this kind of understanding that we have 150 years, if you look back 150 years, then everything has changed, except one thing. Culture is usually printed in books or is on a stage in a building which was built 200 years ago or 100 years ago. I mean, that's how we mostly, consume culture. And I think in a certain way, it has to adapt. And the way to adapt is to really open the questions which are the social questions now. So what is in the community, what is in the society, where they want to achieve change, or where they don't know if they want to achieve change, because I also don't believe that art is just to question things. I mean, we used to say like art is there to question things, and I think no, it's not. It can also give you answers in a certain way. So my vision is this, that it becomes much more fluid, also concerning the different disciplines, but also concerning with the different cross-sectoral collaboration, what we call arts, what we don't. We also stopped a little bit to use the words artist. We use creative minds. We really try to overcome this kind of and bring this fluidity a little bit forward.
From my point of view, I think that in the European system is really trendy to do cooperational projects and meet each other, exchange and go away. And I think it's really important to build deep relations when maybe you really connect to each other and you can work for a long time, or when you are thinking together how to build together something. And sometimes it's also nice not to think about art, but to think about the topics you would like to deal with as a person. If you are both artists, but you are interested in the same topic, maybe there will be a creative form, and maybe you cannot tell that, okay, now we involve vertical dance, but at the moment we have an idea how to connect it with a special educational game or anything. So it can be very creative, I think, and for me it would be interesting if the European ways wouldn't go to the trendy, fast cooperational projects when you meet each other, you do a project and you can forget it, and you are doing it just once or twice. What I see, there is a problem like this. So
I can join into that, because what I wish to change is stability. I'm coming from a Hungarian independent artist point of view, which is like really specific. So yes, stability in terms of partnership, in terms of funding, that's I wish to change. In an artistic way, I don't know what will change or what needs to be changed, but yeah, more of a manager way or director way, I can say that. That's the financial and perspective issues that I would change.
I just want to react very quickly, because I think here the EU funding comes really in. Like the EU funding is the one which has a strategical view. like I want to work in a specific social theme or whatsoever. There is a big vision of mine, and an EU project can really bring it from A to Z. Why usually the national fundings, and not just in Hungary, but I think Hungary specifically, is like you have to make, you know, what's the end? It's a performance. The performance where someone is on the stage, someone is sitting and watching it, and then, you know, the project is done, and that's how you report. And it's never had this kind of Eve. What is Eve in English? Arc, or yeah, something like that. And I think this is, which is a little bit different. But it's, you know, this is something which will not change because of EU funding. I mean, it's very minicular. We feel it big because of what you just said, what is the financial situation in Hungary, but otherwise it's minimal.
Do you have any ideas about what kind of strategies to have when, let's say, the funding period is over and you want to keep going with it? Other than reapplying, have you ever had any kind of opportunity to turn the project then into something else or receive funding from another source? Or how do you deal with this issue that I think many people who are, like you said, it often happens that in these projects, once the funding period is over, it's a big question mark, then how do we proceed? What is your opinion on this?
I think we need to think of the future before the process ends. It's really important. And this is a really difficult question. What I try is to find different sources, so different aspects. So we are searching for different cooperation and international and national funds. So you grab the opportunities that you have. But the interesting part is that you need an administrative staff and all other aspects that it's needed for looking for these applications and writing the applications, and this also needs to be funded. So I think this is a really difficult question.
I'm in a luxurious situation because I don't have to continue. Because we're not an artist organization, I think it is up to the artists. Like, we have to create an opportunity for the artists to continue in a certain way. And again, I don't remember exactly how it was 9 years ago, but probably that we had a project with Vertical Dance and Agi came, and then I think it wasn't the flock project yet, so probably it had some added value, and then it went on its own way. So in most of our projects, we're involving artists, they start to work on something, and then, yeah, maybe we do another project, but then it's very different, because during the process they realize something. Or the second possibility is that they do it on their own way. And I also thinking, like, you have to think about longevity way before and also not at all. Like, you know, if you're thinking about the longevity before, then it means that you cannot finish and you don't see the end point, right? So this something has to have an end and should end at a certain point. And meanwhile, I have to think about the spin-over things, like how do I open the most doors with my projects for other, also probably sometimes for our organizations, but it's very rarely that we start to do the same thing. I mean, that was done, but this is also kind of a policy in our organization, not to do something which was done already once. Yeah, so in this way, we try to push this, this thing on the others involved.
Okay, so I agree that we don't have an end. I mean that now we are running a project, and I'm also the grant writer of our company, so it's not other administrative stuff, but it would be nice. Anyway, so at the moment I'm already writing the projects for the next 2 or 3 years. So and for example, and it's very usual. I mean, for example, in in Media Festival, which is an example, like it's a film festival, for example, there are applications for 2 or 3 years. So there are parts of art, for example, in media project, when you need to think for 3 years. And when we have a tour and we would like to travel to abroad and we are sending our next show, then for many festivals we need to send it for 2 years later, because we are in Hungary. Here we are trying to organize the project for the next month, and then we are lucky if we have the Hungarian grants for it and not later. But there are many cases in the European Union where you send your project and they say that, okay, it's really nice, maybe 3 years later we can invite you because we already have our project for the next 2 or 3 years. So you need to think in a different way and think here in Hungary also for the next 3 years if you would like to be in the European network. That's what I see.
Did you encounter any challenges during the project that you didn't anticipate before, or something that, you know, people who would like to jump into cooperations like this, you could advise them, like either related to the partnership or just like you said, this kind of like maybe not planning ahead enough, because, you know, this kind of implementation, you kind of have to be already like 3 years ahead sometimes in your head. So, but any other kind of challenge that you faced that would be nice to share for people who are new in the cooperation projects?
I think that in Hungary we are in a very lucky situation because we are struggling with many things. So if you are writing a European project, you really can use these emotions, and I think it's really working. So if you tell the truth, what is happening here in Hungary and how it is as an artist, and you are just reading a lot how to write the applications, like many pages, and understand the structure, then you already have a different view and you can involve it. So I support you to tell the truth and learn a lot how to involve this and to put it in a working system.
One thing came into my mind, which is like, I mean, you are really lucky that, Agi, that you have the skills to write the applications and also perform and do your own company, but not everybody has these skills. So what I've learned is to find the right people for the profession that can specifically do a job that's needed for an application and for cooperation. Because if I am trying as an artist to do everything, I'm falling apart, and I cannot. That's my perspective. I cannot do my job well, so I cannot do the whole aim is just disappearing. So that's one thing I learned.
I have a counter argument. The worst projects I have ever done were always written by externals, so people not participating in it. Like, have nothing to do with it, and then because it looks nice on paper, I write this and that. I mean, this is one bad example. The second bad example is, sadly, it's not happening anymore because there are so many applications, but there were a time that we entered into a cooperation project with the understanding that, well, it's not really clear yet. We apply now, but it will be rejected. And then we can really, you know, also they will understand and it will be more clear. And suddenly it was approved. And it was a very, you know, it wasn't really clear what they wanted. But really the worst one was when it was written by externals. So that's, you know, like really externals that you just feed in, like, I want to do this and that. And then someone makes it and it looks nice on paper that you will have, what's the last one? 100 workshops for teachers. And they just wrote it in, like 100 workshops for teachers in each country because it looks nice. But it's, you know, it's... And I also don't know the evaluator who said, like, yeah, 100 workshops, sure. They will do 100 workshops. And then, you know, like there are 14 partners, and they are all like, who said that we can do 100 workshops? It's crazy. So this.
Yeah, okay. I can join to that because Yeah, I also have a bad experience when you you say something like you are not sure you can do when you get a fund or the grant. So you really need to think through the whole process. Is it manageable? Can we do that? And if the answer is yes, then we apply.
But I would like to add that if you are writing a European project, it's totally different like as a Hungarian one, because in Hungary, most of the cases, you write the project and then they say that, okay, we can support you or not. But if you write a European project, it doesn't matter if it's an Erasmus one, it's a Crea Media, Creative Europe, Serve, Interact, I don't know what. They write a reflection. And usually it's a very, very detailed reflection. Even if you don't have the grant, you will have all the details. They will tell you what was wrong, what should be done better. How they give you such a good feedback, like in the case of Berna, that for example you had a project and you rewrited it, and then it, as I understood, that sometimes you rewrite a project, or in this bad situation also you rewrited it, so you can send it again, or you can make it better. And I think that that's a big possibility, and that's a big help. And you can think about it, that it's not a problem if first it's not successful, because you can really learn from it and you can improve. And maybe the next one will be successful.
I have a bad news. I have here a bad news, that there is... So, Hungarian funding system is very bad, it's very low. But now also the European is, which means that there is a bigger competition. So you will be rejected with an application with a max. I mean, in Horizon project, we have been rejected with the maximum points. So now it's getting trickier and trickier, because you get back an evaluation that everything is nice, but sorry, we cannot. So you know, like it's now getting trickier and trickier, and I don't see the billions of euros coming and solving this problem in the near future.
Yeah, probably it's, like for example, it happened with the Creative Europe, which is like, we won't know what will happen. But for example, if you began with the smaller ones like Erasmus or Visegrad, still you can have this. But yes, with the bigger ones, it's harder.
Thank you. I think the last round of questions would be maybe about the future and whether you want to continue the current projects you have going on. Do you think about expanding them, maybe making them into bigger partnerships or build upon the results? Or do you have new ideas, new concepts that you would like to develop? And I'm asking this focused on the circus arts, but also wider performing arts. Yes.
Said that you're working on it.
I thought that I'm working on it. For us it's really important to think in networking. So for example, with the vertical dance, we are involved in the International Vertical Dance Company, which is a network where different vertical dance groups from the world are connected. They have media support, or they can discuss details. And at the moment, for example, we are trying to make an application together for the next year, where we connect many vertical dancers from the world to how to try to do something together. So I think that this is also something which can help us and help each other to think about not only in our company, but in our aims, and how it can be connected to different companies or even networks.
What we are currently working on, we are working on a lot of things, but what we're currently working on concerning Demart, and what we learned from the previous one, is the next step, bringing this community involvement even deeper. And now we are involved in other, I don't know where they are, it's EU funding for sure, but it's not Creative Europe, but there is this Starts Prize, which is done by Ars Electronica. And basically a little bit based on that kind of idea, they call it a challenge, so that there is a challenge created for the artists. So it's not a call, but they invite you that this is, as a community, our challenge. And I think in Denmark, that's what we have learned, that the community was there, but how can we go deeper with the community, so that there is also research, and then they don't just make an open call for an artist, but they say, we as a community think that the issue is this and that, and we made made a research already together with an artist, and we create a challenge. So it's immediately becomes even more, which I spoke about at the very beginning, about the social issue. So our challenge is the disappearing green in an urban environment, or but it's that really giving over also this kind of power and interest for the wider community. Because I also, and then sorry for taking that long, but I also think this kind of issue with audience. I mean, it's changing now, but after COVID, there was really a very big downward thing, and I think that it's still really hard to reach people outside of our bubbles. I mean, maybe they are enough, and Trafo is full, and the theaters are full, but it's still the same. And what we are thinking and want to work a little bit more on is how to create artistic experiences which they feel like their own. Like I have been in the design of the challenge and these kind of things. What we do now in the Starts for Water project is we are creating challenges in Portugal, the Netherlands, together with the community. So artists will be invited for water-related challenges in 5 countries.
Yes, so we have more ideas than possibilities. But yes, of course, and having some small amounts of international cooperation behind, it's a bit easier now to apply for more grants. Of course, we have more ideas. So now I'm preparing another Circus project for next year, and then trying to tour the ones we have. And also trying to find some kind of stability, as I mentioned, financially, and also a place where we can perform all our shows, and also our own space. So yeah, it's improving. So I can say that with work slowly improving. So there is a future, there is a hope. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And now I would like to ask if anybody from the listeners have any questions about the project or what we talked about. Yes, please, if you have any thoughts you would like to ask the speakers, now is the time.
As an artist, how I can apply for more projects or something? Because I see that for the companies it's not so easy, but as an artist it's, I think, even worse. Or if you want to decide if you do the contemporary circus or I think that's a good one. Contemporary circus, how you can find your way now. Or
I took the mic because it's time to advertise. The Starts for Water call will be open 5th of May. All our calls are not specifically for circus, and I think this is something which is really opening the field. We also have another project related to water, for example, where we are looking for artists to think about it's called the Water Mission. It's the Water Mission of the European Commission, so that they imagine how we imagine the water in 50 years. But we really took it to the artistic level. And we do a lot, and I think what is really hard to really follow all these kind of calls and understand that in our case, and this is something which I see more and more, is that I'm not looking for a circus artist. I'm looking for someone who wants to answer this question, this social question, with artistic forms. But we are very much open in all these things for circus. And I think in general, this is shifting into this direction. So, less circus and more open art, but with a specific theme. And I think also concerning and it's also my hope for the future, this is something which is growing, that I'm an artist who is a circus artist, but I have a specific interest in water or environments. And I am building also, so you're not just building your professional side as a circus artist, but also building a little bit your professional side as someone having knowledge about certain social question or specific social question, you know, like environment. And this is something which is still very, you know, very, very hard for us also in the course to evaluate, because we cannot expect people applying with previous background in environmental topics. But I think this is something which is shifting. So look also for the team and not just for them.
But I also see as a festival organizer that it's working when artists are going to the festivals with their ideas. It's reflecting on your idea also. So, and even there is a network for international festivals. It's very easy there is European festival level, so it's easy to find the festivals. And if you are not only sending your project as an artist, like your show, but sending your shows, but maybe sending something which is good for many festivals. It's connected to a topic or something, then festivals can apply. Even in the last year, maybe next time also, there was an IFEA project. You succeeded also. We have been also in it. So, for example, I remember that Mátyás has been an artist. We as a festival supported an artist in the same project. So there are some European grants when artists and festivals are connected. So you can come from as an artist and go to the festivals directly, and then the festivals can support you with their proposal. But the topic can come from you.
Yes, FFEA, it was very difficult. Yeah, that was the grant for emerging artists, and I don't know if it will continue or not. But I need to say, in my experience, if I am jumping into this field, like I want to promote my work, I want to search for new possibilities, either I myself need to be a little bit of a cultural manager of myself, or I need someone who believes in my work and can be my manager in a way. I don't think other possibilities. And for example, this grant or other grants, I need somebody, and I agree with Barna, it cannot be an outsider. This person needs to believe in what I'm doing and needs to understand. And if I have this person, or I myself can train myself to do these applications, that's also good. But if I'm just an artist and just want something, but I don't know how, I would be lost.
Maybe I can also suggest you the Culture Moves Europe program. Maybe you already know about it. But for example, it's a program where you can do a mobility as an artist and go abroad, where you have either another person hosting you or a company hosting you. For example, here we had, with One Too Many, we had Angie Kurtz, who is actually performing her premiere now at 7 p.m. But basically she came to us, and One Too Many was the host, and also Inspirál Circus Center, where she did a residency. So maybe with these kind of residency programs, that's also a good option for individual artists to somehow like grasp opportunities. And this is also a fairly easy application in our experience. So Culture Moves Europe is, I think, a good option to start.
So can I add something? Just because you said there's a future, there's a hope, and that's interesting, because I'm working on a project that I think will be called Hope. So I was thinking exactly about hope is kind of always in the future, and I think it's important to also focus on the present, because then we can kind of bury the hope and really just work with what's here. And so I think that's really important, to not always be planning and thinking about applications and thinking about what you don't know, but actually thinking about what you know and whom you know. And also what you're doing right now is to go to a festival and to see things and to be there, and if possible without an agenda. One of you said that as well. And being in places without an agenda is really hard when you don't know if it will pay off. But it will, in my experience, it pays off the most if you don't know in advance that it will pay off. And there's something that will pay off because you will see things. And even if it's just watching a performance, it will pay off.
I think what you say is really important, to be in the present when you are doing what actually you are doing. But for me, it's really difficult to jump from the future to the present all the time, because sometimes we need to think ahead, and sometimes I am in the process, so great, now I can do, so I need to go to the present moment. So I think what you say is super important.
And it's the same like the process to producing a show. You're in Fantasyland, and you're creating, and you're thinking, and you're hoping for what is going to be there. And then the moment you start rehearsing, it's all about compromises and letting go of all these hopes and just working with the present again. So it's this jumping in between that's the job, I think. And it's beautiful to not having to hope. I think that's something I'm thinking about at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a good friend who said that a director's role is to have a clear vision and accommodate to the circumstances all the time.
I wanted to add one thing still concerning this kind of... I think it's getting harder. And why is it getting harder? I used to work in contemporary dance, and I started at a very bad time in 2008-9. And previously in contemporary dance, that was the situation that, people came and they bought a show. And ever since, it's never really happening. Like if you go to a festival, then 80% of the shows are somehow in a collaboration, which doesn't mean that there is no financial transfer or something like this, but it has really shifted into this direction, and maybe there is a workshop, or we do it in a collaborative way, or we create together, and once we show it in Hungary and then in France. So I think this really shifted in the last 10-15 years, and still our mindset comes from this kind of, I have exactly something, and that's going to be bought, sorry for the words, and we put it on the stage. And I think this is something which we still didn't, grasp on. We do a small festival. It's a solo dance festival, and we do it for 20 years. And now basically all the international shows are somehow in a collaboration. Like we bring something from Korea, we have a same festival in Korea, and this is the way how we are building up. And also, even if we invite someone from abroad, we somehow have this kind of, maybe we will, have a branch also there. So I think it's shifted a lot and I was in this lucky or unlucky situation in 2008 to see the world before. But I think it's became very different.
Any other questions? If we don't have any other questions, then thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your experiences. And please enjoy the performances tonight. First, it's going to be As Long As It Hurts by Angie Court, who was the winner of the Showcase Festival event last year at Much Festival. And after that, you can see Chuzi Marci's work in progress presentation of a new piece. It's called Let It Burn, Spicy Things Are Good for Depression. So please stay and enjoy, and thank you very much. And thank you guys for coming and sharing.